Husband and Mill kicked me out for not paying rent or doing chores for months because I'm 7 months pregnant, so I calmly handed him divorce and filed for full custody of our baby. Hi, so I am a 30-year-old woman and I have been working since I was 18. I did not really come from a financially well-off family, and growing up, we did not really have a lot of money. I went to public school and I realized very early on in life that money meant a lot, and so I made up my mind that I was going to skip college and start working as soon as I could because I wanted to be able to provide for my family. I did not have a father because he had walked out on my mother when she was pregnant with me. He did not even offer child support, and he literally disappeared a couple of weeks after my mother found out that she was pregnant and told him about it. So there was no way to track him, and she had a lot of other things to worry about at the time, so she did not bother to do so either. And my mother got pregnant out of wedlock, which is not something that my grandparents approved of. They were very traditional and they actually wanted to terminate the pregnancy, but she did not do so and they ended up kicking her out. She was just 19 at the time and she was still in college, but she had to drop out because she did not have the means to be able to afford the tuition. And her family had cut ties with her, so she did not have anyone else to go to. So she started working as a cashier in the nearby grocery store and tried her best to make ends meet because she was desperate, and she also had to think about her medical expenses because of the pregnancy. Just a few months before I was born, she was told that she was having twins, and that was even worse for her because now, she had to think about how she was going to handle having 2 children when she was barely prepared to have even one. In spite of all of that, she never considered giving us up and went through it all. I really have no idea how she was able to bring herself to do all of it on her own without anybody's support, but all I know is that she must have been really brave. She did not tell my twin sister and me about any of this until we were 16, and even then, she only told us because we had been pressuring her into telling us about her father and everything about how her life had been before we were born, because we knew that we did not have any other family apart from each other and we wanted to get to know why. It was pretty depressing, but it made me realize that I had to step up and really be there for my family. So I did not go to college, and neither did my sister, and both of us started working at 18. My mother, by that time, had made a lot of progress and was the floor manager at a nearby supermarket. We did not have a lot of money, but we managed somehow, and at the time, that was enough for us. But with age, I decided that I wanted to be able to provide a good life for my mother in her old age, and I wanted my sister to be able to depend on me. Even though we were twins, I kind of considered myself her protector. I guess that was because I was 9 minutes older. So at 18, both my sister and I got jobs as saleswomen for a beauty company, and it was a decent job. We put together a part of our salaries every month and helped our mother with the bills and the rent, and it was a great feeling. I was much better at that job than my sister, so naturally, my commission was a lot higher than hers, and so after a couple of years, I got a big raise, and I told my sister that she could quit her job to do something that she actually wanted. I knew that she did not actually want to be a salesperson, and she was more interested in writing and stuff, so I told her to do something about it because I wanted her to be able to live her dreams. After a lot of convincing, my mother and I were able to put her through college when she was 22 so she could get her degree in literature and even go to do her master's degree as well. And now, she's a teacher in a high school and she's doing pretty well for herself. She also has a wonderful blog of her own, and I am so proud of her. As for me, I am now working in a manager position at a different company, and life is pretty good for me. I would not say that I have achieved everything that I had dreamed of, but I'm getting there, slowly but surely, and for now, it is enough for me that I have been able to help my mother retire and have put my sister through school and enabled her to achieve her dreams. I am still a long way from being wealthy, which is exactly what I had set out to be, but I'm working my way up and I know I'll get there. And on my way up, I happened to meet my husband. Let's call him Nathan. He is 2 years older than me, and we met each other about 5 years ago, at a concert that both of us were attending. He was a friend of an acquaintance and we ran into each other at the concert. He was really cute, so I struck up a conversation with him and we found out that we had a lot in common. Both of us are into fitness and we love the same TV shows as well. On our first date, we also found out that both of us grew up without a father because he had passed away when he was really young and mine had never even been in the picture. We started dating and met each other's families after 6 months of being together. My mother and sister love him, but I don't think I can say the same for his mother. I don't know why, and I still have never been able to figure out why, but she just did not seem to like me. She was very cold to me the first time that we met, and that's the way it has been ever since. She has never made an effort to get to know me or be close to me, even though I have tried to get on her good side countless times. And there is only so much that I can do to win her over until I get tired and stop doing it. So I stopped trying after about a year of getting Nathan, when I finally realized that she was never going to like me and I was tired of putting in an effort to get her to like me all the time. If she didn't like me, I was fine with it because I was only trying to get on her good side for Nathan's sake, but I personally did not mind being disliked by people. So we were pretty cold to each other and I was fine with that. Nathan also addressed it and he told me that his mother just needed some time to warm up to people and she would come around eventually, so I took his word for it and did not sweat it. With my family though, it was a completely different story and he seemed perfectly at ease with all of them. He even fit in perfectly with my sister's husband and her kids, and whenever we were all together, I felt much more comfortable than I did when his mother would be around. So naturally, I would visit his mother with him as sparingly as I could because I knew that she did not like me and I did not find it necessary to visit the people who did not like me or value me. Nathan never said anything about it back then, so I don't know what changed recently. He knew that I preferred to stay away from his mother, and I'm sure that she would like it as well because she had made it very obvious to me that I was not welcome in her home. Anyway, that was how it all was back then, but there have been a lot of changes in the recent past and I'm not sure how to feel about any of it anymore. I'm just confused, I guess. About 7.5 months ago, I found out that I was pregnant and I was already a couple of weeks along when I realized it. I was very happy because I thought it was the perfect time to have a child because we had been married for almost a year at that time, and I was ready. But I guess Nathan was not, because when I told him, he told me that he did not think it was a good time to have a child because he was still in the middle of setting up his new business and he would be very busy for the next couple of months with his business, and we also had to think about the financial aspect and the implications of having a baby at this stage of our lives. He had quit his job about a year ago so that he could join one of his friends in the business that they were about to start together. He had already invested a lot of money and they were probably going to have to invest even more, so he was not exactly at his financial best, but I told him that I did not have any issue with it and I would try to step up and contribute more to the household until his business was able to bring in money. But he was still pretty skeptical about it and did not seem fully on board with the idea of bringing a baby into the world, and even tried to convince me to terminate the pregnancy at one point, but I was also very stubborn and I put my foot down and I told him that we could either have the start or I would walk out of this marriage because I had made up my mind. So he eventually had to apologize to me for even suggesting something like that and told me that he was just nervous, which is why he was acting out like this. I forgave him and we decided that we were going to try and get through this together. At the time, it seemed like a good idea because I had no idea what was about to come. I knew that he was not going to be able to contribute much financially, so I decided that I was going to work for as long as I was able to until I was told not to come into work. Usually, my company has a policy of not allowing women in their third trimester to come to work, especially when they have much higher workloads, like I do. But for me, my boss was willing to make an exception because he knew what I was going through, since my husband was not exactly bringing in the kind of money that we were used to. So he told me that he could allow me to work until the 7th month of my pregnancy, but after that, he could not permit it because it would go against company policy. And after that, I had to go on maternity leave, whether or not I wanted it, because he could not open the company up to lawsuits just because of me. And I thought that he was being more than fair, so I was grateful for it. So I told Nathan about it and he was content with it at the time. He also told me that he was going to move us into his mother's house so we could save a lot on rent and we would not have to worry about that. I was completely against that idea and I could not believe that he was even suggesting it because he knew the kind of relationship that I had with his mother. I disagreed with it vehemently and I told him that there was no way I was moving in with her because I knew that she would never let me live in peace if I was living under her roof. And I was willing to work hard and bring in the money, but I would rather pay a huge amount of rent to live in my own home than move in with my mother-in-law just because we wanted to save money. But he got mad when I told him that I was not willing to move in with her, and he told me that I had just never even given his mother a chance and I was still doing the same, by refusing to move in with her when she herself had offered to take us in so that we would not have to spend an insane amount of money on rent and would be able to save for the future, so we would not have to worry about medical expenses during the pregnancy or after. I thought that it was really unfair for him to say that I had not given his mother a chance because, as far as I was concerned, I had given her multiple chances to get to know me, but she was the one who never put in any effort. She was the one who didn't like me, and Nathan had acknowledged it earlier when we were dating, but he suddenly did not remember any of that when we were arguing about this a couple of months ago. I told him that if it was really about the money then we could live with my mother, but he told me that my mom lived way too far from his workplace and it would be very inconvenient for him to commute every single day. We discussed it for almost a week before I finally agreed to move in with his mother because I was sick of fighting, and he said that he had agreed to have a child with me, so now, I had to do something on his terms and I could not expect him to always do what I wanted him to do. And I was getting sick of arguing with him, so I decided to say yes at the time because I just could not take it anymore. In hindsight, I probably should have